Greetings, fellow cappers. I'm Ernest, tribal elder of Sonic Tribe. Thank you for tuning in, listening to my content and some background music of Sonic Visions that I have on Reverb Nation, SoundCloud, Indie.com. You can listen to this and more. Anyway, so let's start off with I had a post last where I gave Saturday, September 14th, last Saturday's games, college, and I wanted to start off with I ended up with a 5-2 record. I concentrated mostly on teasers. Okay, teasers to me are if you have solid side picks, and with a teaser you could just make it more solid. You put together a 4-team, 5-team teaser, and that's 5-6 to 1 odds. That's not bad because you have really picks that were already solid to begin with. You're just making it that much more of a lock here. But the only thing about teasers is, the more teams you add, that there's always you're adding to the risk of one of those teams is not going to perform to what you expect their performance level from what you've seen in the past. And we've seen that happen a lot, okay? I mean, anybody that bet on these teams that were top 10 or top 20 and they were laying double, triple, or digits, I mean, and then they lose. I mean, you know who I'm talking about. Your Florida States, your Michigans. I mean, you never know. Okay, so that's the thing about teasers. Don't try to spin off 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, maybe 5. Okay, but once you go up there, you're adding more chance to one of those teams is going to lay flat, and you're going to be out. So anyway, I had Cincinnati. That was a win. Cincinnati is a solid team. They run the ball against teams that can't stop the run, and that's how they win most of their games. But this year, they have a quarterback. This guy, I think Cincinnati, I project them to be somewhere in the top from the 15 to 15 and on up, on down. I mean, I don't see them going up past that. They might end up around 20th rank. So now Notre Dame and Purdue. Now, I was high on Purdue. I kind of figured I think Purdue's going to score at 17. Notre Dame, I didn't think they were ready to lay it over 30. So that's what I saw. And what I saw there, I think they changed quarterbacks too. That might have been the real reason. But anyway, that's a loss. I'm going to own that. The next I had was Connecticut and Duke. Now, on that one, I like Duke not, but that number was way too big. Even one that I didn't really want to risk a teaser, but the teaser on the over was, and it covered. Because, I knew Connecticut could score. They scored even more. They did even better than I thought. And Duke held its own. So that's another win. The next one's another loss. I had Vanderbilt. I don't understand. I'm not sure. I checked the box score, and I don't understand how Vanderbilt. That one there was just a loss that I just have to be more careful on the lesser tier teams. The next one after that was San Jose State. And they came through. San Jose State can't run the ball against even middle teams. They couldn't even run that well against Kennesaw. But they have a passer, and if they will be able to pass. They're going to get their points, but not against the top teams that'll snuff them. If they can't run the ball at all, then they won't be able to score against the top teams. So be careful with them. They're a solid team, but a lower tier team. Now, I did talk about the Georgia and Kentucky game. In the end, I decided that I didn't want to lay the side and the teaser lessening the points. even then, um, it could have been a backdoor cover from Kentucky, and the total I wasn't sure. So in the end, I didn't commit to that one, so I'm not going to count that as a loss. But I think everybody was wrong about that one. The next one, okay, the next two were just solid, okay? BYU dismantle Wyoming. Wyoming is a weak team. They're gonna, you can shade them all season. The next game was Fresno State. They took care of business. They're a solid, lower tier level, but they're a solid team, and they'll surprise some middle teams too. Teams in the top 50. They can beat somebody down to I would say the 30 rank. You got to watch out for them, but they'll get snuffed by a team that can stop the run too. So don't overestimate them. But anyway, that's what I had for last week. I was 5-2. The college, I think what we've seen with college so far is that there's a lot of things that are happening that we can't count on the favorites as we always have. Back in the day when you had the physical talent of the higher level teams playing against the physical talent of the lower level teams, well, just that talent alone, they're going to win the game, and usually they'll end up with laying huge points and covering. But now what we're seeing is, I think, largely because of transfers, league realignments, and the portal transfers, those portal windows. We're seeing a lot of players just moving around, like independent agents. And we're seeing mostly these quarterbacks that they think that they're hot shots in a lower tier, and they go to a higher tier, and then they get stage struck, or they excel. So that's why we're seeing all this, that's out of nowhere type of thing. So that's what I see, that college is going to be kind of different this year. And anyway, so that's from last week. And so we'll move into this week, this Saturday, September 21st, 2024. We've got a couple of Friday games, and I want you to consider that Syracuse is a solid team now, and they have a hotshot quarterback that actually came from a lower tier, and he's lighting it up. So I think Syracuse is going to be a team to watch this year. They've acquitted themselves quite well. And Stanford, not so much. I think their quarterback is still, he's being pedestrian. Whether he's got a higher ceiling, I don't know, but I kind of doubt it. And I don't think he's going to do that. It's going to show us on this game. This is going to be a tough game, cross country. I think this one here, 10 points is another thing where, okay, I'm not going to commit to laying the points on that side. I'm just saying, keep a lookout for this one, because Stanford might surprise you. They might put up enough points. And I'm just saying, this one too. Now, another one too that I decided I'm not going to play, but I want to watch, is that Washington State ran monster game last week, and San Jose State, I don't think is going to stop that run. I think they're going to get run on to but 13.5 points laying. I think that's a good pick, but once again, I'm not sure about San Jose State, just because they're not going to be able to run. I think they might be able to put enough points that they just might not make you happy if you're laying them. So, but anyway, on to the ones that I do want to recommend. And you've got, it's this Tulane. It's a 9 o'clock game. They're at University of Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette. They're laying 3 points against the home team, and the total is 55. Now, Tulane, I've I think that they can hang with higher level teams. I think with Lafayette, they're, I mean, to me, I don't see that that's a low number. You know, but clearly they're seeing this as either team's toss-up's going to win this game, and I think that they're giving Lafayette, the home team, of 3 point. So in this one, I would go with Tulane here on this one. But as far as a total, um, I'm not going to go with a total, and I'm not going to do a teaser on it either. You're either going to go with Tulane or you're going to leave it alone. The next game is another 9 o'clock game. You got Houston at Cincinnati. You know I like Cincinnati. Once again, Cincinnati laying 4.5 at home. I think Cincinnati's going to. To me, I see them winning by 10. They can run, and they should be able to run on Houston, and they'll pass on Houston. And Houston will not. If they can run, they'll make it a game. But being on the road, I don't think their quarterback can pull it off. So I'm going to go Cincinnati on this one. Now the next game, it's a 12:30 game. It's USC on the road. They're laying 6 points against Michigan. Okay, USC they look solid. They play solid 4 quarters against teams that were considered top tier at the time, like LSU. But still, you know, they're showing they've got a quarterback that's effective. And Michigan, no, we don't know. Michigan has a good defense. That's why I think the total is 46, because they see like a ceiling of about 20-ish on each side, or more for USC. Michigan, I know, I'll be surprised if they go over 20 on this one. So this one, I'm going to go with USC and tease it, so it's going to be a straight up game, you know. So I'm going to go with USC on this one. That's 2. The next one is going to be TCU, a 2 o'clock game. They're on the road. They're laying 2.5 against SMU. Now, from what I've seen, SMU looks fairly weak this year. I'm not sure if they're. That's a low number, so I'm not worried about backdoor covers. TCU looks like they're solid enough to handle SMU and a little bit above. Maybe not a lot above. I see TCU as a top 40 in that area, but I don't see them in the top 20. And SMU, I don't see them, you know, I'm going to go ahead and lay them 2.5 with TCU. The next team I have is a 4:30 game. It's Tennessee on the road, laying 7 points against Oklahoma. Tennessee looks like a juggernaut right now. That's what we thought about Georgia last week. But Tennessee, when I used to bet back in the late 80s, 90s, Tennessee was one of those teams that if they can roll you, they rolled you. You know, Missouri was like that. Kansas State was like that. Those teams, hey, they're going to roll you. They're going to lay 70 on you. Sorry, you can't stop them, and they're going to do it. Oklahoma is still not, in my opinion, they're not right. They don't run effectively like they used to be as a powerhouse. So they're going to have problems. I think they're going to. I don't see them shutting down Tennessee. So, and this one here, if you want to lay the side, it's not a bad bet. You want to give yourself 6 points and tease it, that's a solid bet. Okay. The total, I don't know, because it depends on how Oklahoma, if they can control the scoring of Tennessee or not, or if they can score on their own, which I don't think so. Their quarterback has not shown that. So that's what I'm going with that. The next game is a late game, a 7:30 game. You got Kansas State laying 7 at BYU. Now, this one here, I know BYU is good. Kansas State is good. I really see a solid tease on this on the over where you get it down to 41 and a half. BYU can score. They're not going to get denied at home. K State has a good defense, but not a solid, strong defense. But they can score. They should be able to run the ball enough that it's going to be one of these back and forth type games. It might be one of these games where it goes down to the last possession. So I'm going to do, like I said, a solid on the over, on the teaser. And on this one here, I'm not going to commit to either side. You can give yourself 6 more points for BYU, or you can, take away 6 from that 7 and K-State, -1. I'm going to stick with the over on it. This is another game of interest to me that I'm just going to stick with what I have as far as the over. Anyway, so those are my picks on college for this coming Saturday. Now, as far as the NFL, I don't. I saw a couple. I'm not going to give what I really think right now here, but I'll put one out before Sunday. And like I said, I do better on college, and the NFL is a whole different animal when it comes to capping. You have a situation where in college, it's easier or more consistent in capping by the numbers, by what's on paper. You have, when you have a higher tier team, like the SEC playing the MAC, well, you know what to expect. You've got your physically the best, and the ones that are not physically talented, they're not. So it doesn't really matter if you had a better scheme. If you can't execute, you can't block, your quarterback's not going to be able to make that pass, and you're not going to score. And you won't be able to run the ball because your blockers won't be able to move their defensive linemen. So those are the things that you watch for in college, but not so much these days. Now there seems to be more parity because of these portal windows, transfers, coach changes, and the realignments now. It's a different game now, and you have to watch that. But in college, you still have, you check, this team runs the ball. This team can't stop the run. This team can stop the run, but they can't. They have a weak secondary. You can pass on them. Their pass rushers do not get to your passer fast enough. Those are the things you look for, and they're more effective on the, everything up to the top, I would say 60. 60 teams, anything over that, it's a risk to wager on them. You can wager against them, but anything below the 60, I wouldn't really, put my money on them unless they're playing teams at their level or lower. That's the thing about college. You can't do that with the NFL. The NFL is different. All the teams have their talent level, the physical ability level is equal. It all comes down to the key skill players, the quarterbacks, the receivers, running backs, that kind of thing. And sometimes the defense. Sometimes you might have a dominant defense. You lose some of the key players there. So you always got to check the injuries. You always got to check, especially on the skill players, on all sports and everything. First thing you check is for injuries on a key player. Besides that, in college, you get those numbers. Those things will work. And also, the key time, the weeks that work best to your advantage is anything from the 3rd week to the 8th week. The teams are playing at their highest level that they're going to play, and then you're going to have, after that, you're going to have injuries, and you're going to have weather and things like that. That then you have to watch out, make sure your team see how they're doing. You know, you can't depend on them to perform like they did on week 6 and then perform the same on week 12. They might, but those are the things you have to watch for. Anyway, so that'll wrap it up for today. If you like what I'm doing, tune in again. I'll keep coming back with my recaps. And so once again, here we go. We got Tulane. Could be a straight bet. You got Cincinnati, another possible straight bet, or a solid teaser. You got USC. I would just tease that one. It'd just be who wins the game. TCU, they're laying 2.5. Another solid bet. You might want to tease them. Give yourself plus 3.5. I mean, I usually don't do that, but in this case, I don't see SMU winning this game. You got Tennessee, another one. I think they'll cover the side. They'll cover the 7, but I mean, bring them down to -1, another solid teaser. And K-State, I think it'll go over 41.5. I think BYU's got enough that they'll make sure it does, even if it's late in the 4th quarter. So those are my solid picks. You can add that teaser 6 to BYU to make it 13, or KSU make it -1. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope to see you next time.